Space is truly the final frontier. Seemingly endless, it's impossible for us to fully comprehend. But man will set out to overcome all obstacles in its way, even the endless space itself. This is Deep Space Station 51. It's a NASA facility in South Africa, outside of Joburg. Visiting this facility is the closest I'd ever come to going to the moon.
How science plans to patrol the skyways in outer space is shown here in Pretoria, South Africa. U.S. Ambassador Philip Crowe and South African Secretary for External Affairs, G.P. Eusta, sign agreements to erect a powerful radio telescope that will probe millions of miles into space. Erection of the giant telescope is a cooperative scientific effort undertaken by the two countries. Sponsored by the U.S. National Aeronautics and Space Administration, it will be operated, when completed, by South African scientists. There are only two telescopes of this range and power in the world today, one now operating in California and one in Australia. According to NASA, it is designed primarily for lunar probes and to track the flight of spacecraft. The extreme power of the radio telescopes is seen in the fact that it only begins to track spacecraft when they are more than 10,000 miles from the Earth's surface.
Okay, so you can't just jump in a shuttle and fly off into the moon. That's not how space works. In preparation for landing men on the moon, several series of unmanned spacecraft were sent ahead of the Apollo missions. The first set were called the Rangers. There were 9 in total, and the 7th one was the first one to successfully reach the moon. Ranger was also Deep Space Station 51's first mission, and there are a series of plaques up at the facility celebrating all those minor victories that led to men landing on the moon. Ranger 7 took 4,308 pictures before it crashed into the moon as intended. Ranger 8 and 9 were also successful missions. Next up was the Surveyor mission. These probes were intended to land on the moon. The lunar orbiter had mapped the moon to find landing positions for the Apollo missions. Finally, after careful preparation, the Apollo missions could kick off, sending men to the moon for the first time ever.
Think about it as a controlled fall out of lunar orbit. The problem is, in this controlled fall out of orbit, you only have enough fuel for one try.
Capcom, we're go for landing. Altitude 4,200.
Houston, you're a go for landing, over.
Okay, engine stop. APA at a descent. Boat control, both auto, descent engine command override off. Engine arm off. 413 is in.
We copy you down, Eagle.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
Well, in my left hand I have a feather. In my right hand a hammer. And I guess one of the reasons we got here today was because of a gentleman named Galileo a long time ago who made a rather significant discovery about falling objects in gravity fields. And we thought that where would be a better place to confirm his findings than on the moon. And so we thought we'd try it here for you. The feather happens to be appropriately a falcon feather for our falcon. And I'll drop the two of them here, and hopefully they'll hit the ground at the same time. How about that?
While Apollo was going on, the rest of the solar system wasn't neglected. Deep Space Station 51 continued to do its work. Mariner 5 was sent to Venus, but the Soviets had much more luck when it came to Venus. Mariner 6 was sent to Mars and obtained the first close-up photos of Mars in a flyby in 1965. The first of 11 ground commands issued to Mariner 6 was from the South African station. The first photos were also received in South Africa. These pictures were also the first pictures taken of another planet by satellite. These pictures were received at a rate of 8.33 bits per second. Picture 11 gave us the first sense of the landscape of Mars, and the satellite also had the ability to take pictures in color. There were two Pioneer programs, early Pioneer programs and late Pioneer programs. The Pioneer program had 10 successes and 9 failures. The Pioneer series of spacecraft were designed to investigate the conditions in space between the planets. Early Pioneers had a simple mission of simply showing it was feasible to study the moon. During the later missions, Deep Space Station 51 was renamed Hartebees Hoek Radio Astronomy Observatory. The Goldstone Pioneer Station, one of its sister facilities in America, has been converted into a museum after being retired in the 80s, and the other sister facility in Australia has been demolished. Archimedes Hook continues to contribute. Today it's part of the Square Kilometer Array, which will be the world's largest radio telescope, 50 times stronger than anything we have right now.